Welcome back everyone to part 2 of this watercolour painting of Black Eyed Susans. In this part we'll bring the painting to a close and I'll be chatting about the pros and cons of this well-known and very popular paper. Okay, so this is now dry and we're going to go to the next stage, and I suddenly thought to myself when we were talking about brushes, I have another brush which I think might be even better for these petals. And this is a filbert. This one is a size 6 Pro Art Proline. That's a synthetic nylon brush, and it's a filbert, which means that it's got a rounded tapering shape to it. So it's not pointed, and if you look at it sideways on, you can see it's flat, but it's not square at the top like a real square flat. And so because of this nice tapered shape, it gets thinner towards the end as well. I think we might get some decent petal shapes. So I was just trying it out on my piece of scrap paper. And this is what we get. So that's better, I think. You can get a sharp line if you take it on its side. But so let's have a go with that. This is going to be one of those paintings where I keep chopping and changing, and you never know what's going to turn out at the end. But so far so good as far as the paper's concerned. So now I'm going into the, what did I call this? This is permanent vermilion, isn't it? So let's try and drop some petals in. So I'm going to try and go kind of in the same place where I had the orange before, otherwise we'll end up with a painting that's got no yellow, but is only orange. And because I'm right-handed, I'm kind of concentrating on doing the ones on the left-hand side first. Most of my paintings have a bit of a left-hand leaning. Now there's an example of one that's lost its center. So I'm going to do that thing with the lifting out, which we did in the previous video. And you can do that with this paper, which is wonderful. There we are. And now I might mix a little bit of yellow into the orange and have or the other way around, and have a second shade, and I'll use that for the other side. A bit more yellow. And now I think I'm going to pop in some stems. And sort of start with green, but I want that to be less green than pure green, so sort of brown. Yeah, so that'll do. So we need to identify and then I'm going to go back to the pointed brush because I'm going to sort of put some brownish green leaf type shapes in, and I'm going to keep those fairly loose. And now I'm going to have a go at the centers of these things, and I'm going to start off with a lighter brown, so I'm going to use some burnt sienna. And then we'll darken them up, probably with a mixture of either sepia or burnt umber and Payne's grey. I'm going to just drop that in the bottom, try and let that bleed up a bit. And we can vary them. They don't all have to be done the same. And with any luck, they'll sort of bleed into the petals a bit. And if they don't bleed enough, then we can come back in, or we will anyway. With some more oranges and yellows. And when it gets a bit drier, so not sure if it's ready yet, but we will try and do something a bit like that around the outside edge. Not sure if that's going to be dry enough, because they have a sort of, some of them anyway, have a kind of fluffy irregularity. Something like that. And if you feel that you would like to because this paper is so, what's the word, forgiving, giving, you can lift out a bit at the top like that. So where the light is landing, use clean bit of paper towel. Okay, so that's the centers done. So now I'm going to go back to my orange and make that quite nice and strong, and then I'm going to try and be brave and just bring out some, bearing in mind that you can, as I keep saying, lift the colour off if it goes wrong. So that's a good thing, isn't it? And you can soften the petals and you can lift and let that run a bit more. It's all up to you. I think I don't like that bit there, so we just get rid of that. Like magic. And if you feel that you want a bit more light in between those petals, just come in and lift it out. And then, oops. And if you lift something out and you want to paint over it, sometimes you can do it straight away like that. Sometimes it's a good idea to let it dry first. And we are coming to the point here where I'm going to need to let it sit for a bit before I come in and do more to the flowers if I'm going to. But first of all, I'm just going to add some green. And then I'm going to leave it for a few minutes. So this is dry, and what I've done now is I've picked up a very old stencil brush. It says 3/16. It's a round. It's got USA stamped on it. I think it's a craft brush. And I'm just going to pick up some sepia on the end of this little stencil brush. And with it, I'm going to just give the effect of the textured centers of these flowers. So rather than taking my paintbrush and doing God knows how many little dots, this does it for me. You can use this in lots of different ways, as well as this technique. Probably don't want to do it on all of them, but the ones in the middle that are the most important, and you can also dot out to the bottom a little bit if you want. Okay, so that's that, and do not forget to wash that. And then I'm going to put in a few more strokes of the orange mixed with a little bit of yellow. I suppose you could possibly call this a sort of semi-abstract because it's not realistic. It's just playing with colour, like we said, and testing the paper. I'm happy with this paper. I think it's great. I will be eternally grateful to Denise for sending it to me. Whoops, that went a bit too far, didn't it? But no worries. And if you feel that you want to soften any of the edges, like I said, you can just go in and do that, and it's easy to do. We can expand our green if we want, a little bit more green, perhaps. Another layer. You can take this as far as you want. If you wanted to, you could use purple as a shadow colour if you felt that way inclined. Because wherever you put the complement to the orange and the yellow, it's going to sort of bring those forward a little bit. So depends how much time you want to take over it, but I think that's probably going to do for now. It's another case of leaving it until tomorrow and seeing what the gnomes have done overnight. That one up there looks like it could do with a little bit more interest. Put a few more. And here perhaps. And some people would want to put spatter on at this point, which you could. I'm not going to today. I might do tomorrow. And some of these edges of the small brush. Some of these edges might want softening a little bit, but I'm not going to fiddle around with that at the moment. So we'll leave that for now, and see what it looks like in the morning. So there's a final painting, or almost a final painting. I'm going to put a little bit of yellow golden quinacridone gold spatter on it, at the top here especially, just to liven it up a little bit. The paper is great. I don't think there's any problem with it. It's definitely very amenable to alterations, and if anything, that's the one problem, because you can keep on working at it and it doesn't object. You could end up going way too far with a painting, and when I look back through the video, there are points in the past where I think probably if I was doing this again, I would have stopped there. If I could turn back the clock, as if we could, if only we could, but we can't. So you keep going, and in the end you end up with something which perhaps you think, well, maybe I should have stopped half an hour ago. But anyway, what the whole point of this was to give the paper a workout, which I have done. It has tolerated my rubbings out, my liftings, my layering, wet in wet, wet on dry, everything. It's tolerated it all very well. And yeah, so not a problem with the paper. I think I probably need more practice with this particular paper because I haven't used it for such a long time, at least not this particular one anyway. The environment here is not especially dry or especially damp, so it's quite average, and yes. So there we are. I hope you enjoyed watching me do this work today, and if you did, please give me a like and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to turn on notifications so that you hear whenever a new video is going up, so you never miss a thing. If you want a little bit more, do consider the channel membership, which starts at $2.99, and for that you do get a few extra bits and pieces, and you become part of our family, so that's really nice. And the other thing is, don't forget to go to dianeantone.com if you want to download sketches of any of the paintings that I've done over the last year or so. This one will be up sooner or later, although it's going to be obviously just more of a guideline than an absolute sketch, but there's the moose and there are the birds and the other flowers and so on and so forth. They're all there, they're all free. You can download as many as you like, and no problem with that whatsoever. You're all very welcome to help yourselves. Just take a look at the rest of the website. There's a nice blog there, and there are some things for you to consider if you're looking for some gifts. So I'll say goodbye for now, and I will see you again soon. So thanks very much again, everybody, and bye-bye for now. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.